It's recorded.
Get nervous. It's like running a production. You need a producer. Jolene. Who's Jolene? Jolene. Oh, Rick, did you call her?
Who?
Jolene?
Joellen.
No, I did not. Joe Ellen. Oh, Joe Ellen. Yeah, I know her. Well, you've met her. She comes to UCB.
Oh, okay,
An
yeah.
older woman. You know, she's very active and very strong.
Jeff, George, Robert's iPad. So that's so we know that is 1, 2, 3, 4. That's everything.
Yes. No. Yes.
Noemi, are you ready?
We are ready.
Okay. Director G'day, are you ready?
We are set.
Okay. Then I am going to open up the meeting with Groton Utilities Commission Water Pollution Control Authority for January 20th, 2021. This is a Zoom meeting. The first item on our agenda is called the meeting to order. We have a roll call. Commissioners Scully, Zuliani, Godley, and Chairman Hedrick are here. Approval of the minutes. I need a motion to approve the regular meeting minutes of December 16th, 2020.
So moved. Can you hear me?
We have a motion from Scully.
Yes.
Second.
Do we have a
Jeff
second?
Adler. Second, Jeff
We have a
Adler.
second from Godley. So we have a motion and a second. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, approval of the treasurer's report for December of 2020.
So moved. Second,
Motion, I'm sorry, who was the second?
Scully? I guess.
Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Giuliani, second from Commissioner Scully. Is there any discussion on the treasurer's report?
No.
Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. Okay, communication correspondence. It is my sad duty to report to you that Commissioner Duarte has decided to go do other things after all his years of dedication to this body and to other things in the city of Groton. He will be missed. And we are actively looking at a couple candidates now to fill his position. We also have a thank you to the town of Groton for a donation to the Energy Assistance Fund. Thank you from the town of Montville for assistance with the water line repair. Thank you from the Bill Memorial Library for the contributions to the Neighborhood Assistance Program and the letter from the state of Connecticut on Water Fluoridation Quality Award. Director G'day, do we have any other correspondence?
Just what you have for public communications.
Okay. So next we'll go to public communications. In response, the state of Connecticut Executive Order 7B, protection of public health and safety during COVID-19 pandemic in response, further suspension or modification of statutes dated March 14, 2020, suspending in-person open meeting requirements. All public meetings will be closed to the public at this time. Public meetings will be available in Zoom with the information above. If you wish to address commission, please send written communications sent to director's office at grotonutilities.com by 9 o'clock on the date of the meeting. It'll be read during a portion of the agenda. I do have two public communications. They are both from Sam Spano. The first one is Sam Spano, 300 Thames Street. There have been 0 odor days since the last utility commission meeting. While I hope the situation continues, as I have stated before, I believe this is mainly due to the cold winter weather. The same pattern has occurred during the winter of the last 2 years. I sincerely hope I am wrong in my analysis, but we will not know until warmer spring weather hits again. During the 12/16/20 Utility Commission meeting, the General Manager of Operations commented regarding the W.P.C.A. working to reduce odors as low as we can reasonably achieve. Not to keep picking on General Manager Byron, who I actually feel is doing a very good job under the circumstances, but the goal should be to eliminate the odors altogether. I understand the sewer department ran a considerable dollar surplus for 2020. Rather than come up with more projects to spend this money on, why not rebate it back to the ratepayers? Action item B, GUC WPCA 21-01-02 is for consideration of $473,825 plus 10% contingency for our low lift pump station screening. Action item C, GUC WPCA 21-01-03 is for consideration of $145,750 for engineering services for consultants Wright Pierce for the above low lift pump station screening. This is a lot of money. My understanding is that this is necessary to further mitigate the eel problem. My question is this: since GU management apparently knew there were eels in the reservoir to begin with, why were safeguards not engineered into the original plans for the new water filtration plant intakes and filters? Again, I thank the commissioners for your help in advance. And the second correspondence I have from Sam Spano at 300 Thames Street is, Dear Mayor Hedrick, I am sure you are aware that the 12/16/16, and that should probably be 12/16/20 Utilities Commission meeting was not televised. I've been told by GU management they made a decision to no longer televise any future Utility Commission meetings. They will only be available on Zoom or later after the fact on TV. Due to the COVID crisis, public attendance is of course barred for the foreseeable future to any public meeting. The TV venue was much more efficient and provided much more public access to this forum than either of the above. With all the issues concerning both the W.P.C.A. and startup of the new water filtration plant, I believe this venue should be continued on the Groton Public Television platform, as are the city council meetings. I'm requesting that as the chair of the Utilities Commission, that you override the GU decision and continue to publicly televise Utility Commission meetings starting again on 1/20/21. So this one I will comment to is that we have compiled all of our meetings on one page. It's going to be on the city website, and that will take you to all our Zoom meetings. Our Zoom meetings are on YouTube, and you'll be able to go to that page, click on the meeting, and that'll take you to the Zoom meeting, and you will see the meeting in entirety on your laptop, where you can move it back and forth and scroll. And if you want to hear something over again, you can do that. We have worked with Sam on this, and we've given him the link. And so we think this resolves the issue. Also in the future, we will include the Zoom information in the agenda to make it easier for you to attend. So that'll be embedded into the information so that you can just tap on it and get to the. Does the commission have any questions or comments regarding public communication?
Scully does. those two letters you just read are not in the commissioner's package.
Say again?
Right.
Oh, they're not in the package. Okay.
What was the dates on them?
Say again?
What were the dates?
The one was January 19th at 3:59 PM. And then the other one was to me on January 13th, and we did not recognize that Sam wanted that read publicly until in the last day or two.
Okay, thank you.
But I recognize what your concern is. In the future, we'll make a better effort to ensure that you get the correspondence ahead of you, as the commission can get the correspondence ahead of time so that you can digest it, and then you may have additional questions or comments on your own. So
Thank you.
your point is taken. Anyone else? Okay, we will move on to the regional water update. The Puckwatonic Cove interconnection.
Yeah, so this is Mark. We have received comments from the DOT, and we have the engineering firm making the revisions, and then those documents have to go back and be approved by DOT before we can move forward on this, before we can send it out to bid. There's some special requirements with the bridge crossing up there and how deep the bed is, and there's several engineering issues there. So that's where that stands. We are in contact with the Armory Engineering or Emory Engineering, and actually Mike Weber is making a personal appearance with them to turn up the heat and get these documents completed to get them out to bid after DOT approves.
Okay. Commission, questions or comments on that?
I just have a question. Is that line being attached under the bridge, or is it going under the water? Is it
Under the bridge,
it's being attached to the bridge?
yes.
Okay,
And that's part of the loading and issues that the DOT is having. It's making it more complicated
you're adding that weight to the bridge,
for
right?
the bridge, yes.
Well, and I think another issue is that they were trying to determine, was it going to go under the bridge? Was it going to go over the bridge, on the bridge? I mean, it's, you know, you still have the weight loading, but you also have to worry about the support of the piping infrastructure going across the bridge as well, so that you don't overload any particular portion of the pipe. So that's all being evaluated by DPH. Okay, final drought management update.
Yes. Mayor, this is Rick. We sent you the final drought since we're at 92.5% impoundage, and we've been notified by the various departments through the Homeland Security that we are out of the drought. I feel very comfortable to say that we're, you know, completely out of the drought, but I think that staff and everyone did a great job behind the scenes, making sure that we met the drought plan and that we did everything we could appropriately to conserve water, also save water.
Thank you. I echo that, Rick, with what the utilities employees did, and also what the customers did as far as trying to save water. Do you remember what the lowest impoundage was percentage wise? Do you remember that?
I would have to take a guess, so I'm not certain, but I would say about 67, 68%.
Okay, so the point that I want to bring up on that is that with the drought as bad as it was, we got down to 67%. And we still had a lot of water because of the way our reservoir systems are established and set up, and the fact that we have such large aquifers and reservoirs. So that's a good thing. There were other places in the state that were well below 50%. And so we are in a good position as a utility water wise. So we just need to protect that asset. All right, we'll move on. Monthly financial highlights. E,
Oh, hi, good morning, everyone. This is Yi. I'm going to review the geo-financial highlights for December and also the year to date with everyone. So I'm going to start with the electric division. So for our revenue side, the total electric revenue for December is slightly over the budget by 0.3% and 1.7% more than last December. So the residential commercial sales are below the budget, and industry and sales for resales are over the budget. For year to date, the total electric revenue also slightly over than the budget by 0.3% and 1.7%, the better than last fiscal year to date. And also the fiscal year to date, the residential sales, industry sales, and sales for resale are over the budget. And the commercial is under the budget by 10.8%. This is overall review of the revenue side. For operation and maintenance expense of December is 4.1% below the budget, and net income for the month is 165,000 over the budget. The variance for the of the net income is driven by the below budget operation maintenance plus the other income from the REGI fund for the Yukon LED project. We received a total 242,000 from the REGI fund, which is the regional greenhouse gas emission funds, which is set up for the energy efficiency program. For fiscal year to date, operation maintenance expense are 17.7% below the budget, and net income is 1.1 million over the budget. The favorable variance of net income is driven by the below budget operation maintenance expense, and plus the REGI fund for LED project. So this is overall for the electric side, the financial review. And any questions for electric side?
any questions on electric?
No.
Okay, thank you. E, please continue with water.
Okay. For water revenue of December is 8.6% more than the budget and 18.2% more than last December. Residential industrial sales for resales all exceeded the budget, and the commercial is below the budget by 4.1% for the month. For fiscal year to date, the water revenue is 4% more than the budget and 8.2% more than last fiscal year to date. Residential industrial sales for resales all over the budget, and the commercial is under the budget by 5.9% for year to date. For operation maintenance expense side, the December are over budget by almost 6%, and net income before DWSRF grants is 148,000 more than the budget, and the favorable variance is driven by the over budget revenue plus it delay the DPH consent agreement project and offset by the over budget of operation maintenance expense for the month. Fiscal year to date, operation maintenance expense is 6% below the budget. Net income before the DWSRF grant is 1 million more than the budget. Also, the favorable variance is driven by the over budget revenue plus the below budget, the operation maintenance expense, and the delay of the DPH projects. As end of December, the total water treatment plant project have spent like the 47.3 million, and the total 46.7 million has been received from the state, including 30 million for grants and 33.7 million for the loan. And the water treatment, we restricted the water treatment, the cash for 3.4 million as end of December for the payment for the loan for the future. And this is overall for the water financial for the December. Any questions?
Questions on water? Okay, hearing none. E, please move on to sewer.
Okay. Sewer revenue for December is almost 12% more than the budget, and it's driven by the industrial category. And the year to date, the sewer revenue is 13.4% more than the budget, also driven by the industrial, which is over the budget. And operation maintenance expense for sewer for December is 14.5% below the budget, and net income is 93,000 more than the budget. And the favorable variance is driven by the over budget revenue plus under budget the operation maintenance expense. Fiscal year today, the operation maintenance is 22% below the budget, and the net income has a favorable variance of 727,000, and it's driven by the over budget revenue plus under budget operation maintenance expense. By end of December, the total sewer, the cash is almost 4 million on the balance. And the overall days cash on hand for GU 3 division is 98 days. So this is over review of the sewer. Any questions?
Questions regarding sewer? Okay. Thank you, E. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you for your report. Projects and initiatives update, COVID-19 update.
So this is Mark. I have the latest update from the state. As of this morning, there's been a total of 232,219 cases of COVID in the state of Connecticut identified. That's up by 2,094 since yesterday. The number of tests in the last 2 days, because they apparently underreported a bunch, went dramatically up. And we are sitting now at over 5.3 million tests conducted in the state of Connecticut. Just yesterday, there were 37,000 more tests performed. Our daily positivity rate went up slightly from yesterday. Yesterday was 4.85%. This morning it's 5.65%. So it's bouncing around a little bit, but still pretty good for the state of Connecticut. There's currently 1,141 patients hospitalized in the state of Connecticut. That's up by 27 in the last 24 hours. Unfortunately, there's been 6,682 fatalities, and that's up by 12 in the last 24 hours. A couple of things to note is, New Haven, Hartford, and Fairfield counties are the places where the most hospitalizations are occurring. They have the 3 highest positivity rates, average positivity rates down there. The 3 counties east of the Connecticut River, Tallinn, Wyndham, and New London County, represent about 11.6% of the cases. That's 132 cases. So once again, our trend continues in Southeast Connecticut in terms of, hospitalizations and percentage of the total. So there's been almost 200,000 first doses of the vaccine administered. There's 24,000 second doses, so almost 250,000 since vaccination started in the state of Connecticut. And as of yesterday, there is some new guidance that went out. The focus remains for vaccinations on folks 75 and older. And in the next week or two, that will shift to individuals with high risk, or it'll shift to individuals 65 and over, or individuals with high risk conditions and frontline essential workers. So there's some, they have narrowed down on how they're going to vaccinate. So we're moving ahead. That's all I have on, we do have 2 Groton Utilities employees out with COVID. One in the management ranks and one PAF operator. Those are the 2 that we are aware of this morning. Neither one of those cases, actually, none of the cases of positive COVID in Groton Utilities has been deemed a workplace transmission. So we're still doing very well there. Continue on with all of the COVID-19 protocols that we put in place, and we'll continue on. Fortunately, for a good percentage of our first line employees, with the advent of Ledgelight asking people to come over and use unused vaccines, we've had a lot of people get vaccinated, which is only going to help us. So we some good luck there, and hopefully that'll continue, and we'll all be vaccinated by mid to late February. That's all I have. Anybody have questions?
Mark, the 2 employees, are they staying home? Is that what are they safe home?
Yes, they're quarantining at home, and they have minimal symptoms. I'll put it that way.
Good.
Light fevers, headaches, a little cough. That's so far been what we're hearing back. Feeling really tired. I guess that's the biggest thing.
So just to add to that, the city of Groton has teamed with Ledgelight Health District, and we are using our auditorium as a vaccination site. So they come in and set up usually Thursdays and Fridays the last few weeks to do the vaccines. This week it's going to be Thursday and Saturday, and they need people to have appointments and be on the VAM system and those kind of things. We have put out a list, and we're trying to get in touch with people, or people can actually get in touch with them to be on a call list, so that at the end of the day, if they have extra vaccine, instead of throwing it away, it will get used on somebody that's in one of the at-risk groups. So we are continuing to move forward with this. I was at a meeting this morning with the Southeastern Connecticut Council of Governments, and Steve Mansfield, the director of Ledgelight, was up. And the health districts are feeling some frustration because sometimes the information coming from the state is contradictory and is not complete. We're having some challenges with getting enough of the vaccines, and then the distribution of it. And the VAM system is basically, in a nutshell, it's painful to use. And so they're having some meetings with the DPH and with the state, the rest of the Governor Lamont's group, to see if they can go to the vaccine process that they use for everything else, and that was successful during H1N1. So there'll be more to follow, more to come up with this, but people are trying to basically blunt the sharp edges on this and make it easier for people to get the vaccines. Okay, customer service, accounts receivable, Tina?
Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Okay. Currently, we are sitting at roughly about 10% of AR, which is a little bit higher than we normally sit about this year. It's roughly about 1.5% higher, which I guess overall for everything taken into consideration isn't too bad. The big category that is carrying the biggest delinquency is obviously residential. And currently our residential total AR is sitting out right at about 1.1 million. And that includes the 0 to 30. So I think I'm going to start having staff going back and doing some active collections with some customers and calling and getting them on payment arrangements, letting them understand that as of, April 1st, we have the ability to interrupt the service for non-payment or if you don't have a payment arrangement on file. There's a couple programs out there that I'm doing some research on that's coming from the government to assist customers with rent and some heating assistance. I have reached out to WP.C.A and trying to get some support from them to have a better understanding how to push our customers through the process. There's that's on the AR side. That's kind of where we sit. And before I have a couple of things I want to talk about, but does anybody have any questions about AR?
The 1.5% of residential, you know how many people, general number?
1.5% increase?
Yeah,
I didn't, I run it by category, so I can tell you how many people are in each category, but I would have to run a couple other reports to figure out the customer number. But if you want to know, absolutely, I could run that and send that off.
no,
Absolutely.
that's okay. You don't have to do the extra work.
Okay. The last time that I looked at it, which was like right before Christmas, we sat at about 1,500 customers that were past the 31 days past due. So overall, when we sit at, we roughly bill around 16,000 customers. So, it's roughly about 1,500 customers. And
Got
that
it.
fluctuates as our billing cycles do. So it kind of also depends on when you look at it, because we bill customers throughout the whole month. Any other questions? So, and I'm sure that no one has heard about it if you aren't actually working within Groton Utilities or the city. We had an issue last week that I think it's important to share, that not our payment processing center, but the third-party bank that processes the payments. There was an error with Groton Utilities and a bank, TIAA, which is Teachers Insurance Annuity Association. We both use the same credit card processing and we use the same back-end processing, which is Braintree Bank. Braintree Bank made an error and they accidentally changed TIAA's description on people's credit cards to Groton Utilities. So it looked like when they were making their mortgage payments, it looked like it was going to Groton Utilities. It wasn't. It was absolutely going to TIAA, but it was showing Groton Utilities. So we had numerous amount of customers calling, and we initially thought it was fraud. So we initially talked with the customer, said, it's not us. You need to process through your bank. You need to file fraud charges. And then as we did a little bit more research, we found out that customers were making mortgage payments for the same amount. And then we kind of tracked it backwards and found out that their name got changed inadvertently to Groton Utilities versus TIAA. And more research, I found out that we were in the process of asking the bank to switch from City of Groton to Groton Utilities. Well, TIAA was in the process of switching their name to something else, and they just got flip-flopped in error. So unfortunately, I guess sometimes that happens. So, but it's all been resolved. TIAA did reach out to all their customers. And as of yesterday, we've only had like 1 or 2 customers calling in, and we are redirecting them to call their mortgage company.
So the bank notified the customers directly that it wasn't Groton Utilities, it was the bank's error?
Correct. They reached out to their customers and the money was going to TIAA. It was not coming to us whatsoever.
Right.
So the hope, yeah, it was just the front end, what was appearing on the customer's credit cards or their bank statements. But it was all going on. Yes, and TIAA reached out to, or they told me they reached out to all their customers and let them know that it was there. That's what I was told. And then we had everything on our website, and our answering service had all the information, and we're directing customers to the 800 number for the TIAA bank so they could contact them directly also.
Good.
Any other questions?
Anything else for Tina? Okay, thank you, Tina.
You're welcome.
Okay, water filtration plant project commissioning update.
This is Rick. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So as you know, Ray's the project engineer on this project. Ray Valentini and Mike Weber is the project manager. Mike did a good job putting together the monthly report. It shows a lot of activity. The contractors and subcontractors have a lot of work to do, and they're moving along. And we're trying to facilitate that through, phones and emails, and trying to keep our plant personnel separate from the construction sites, following protocols. And we are disinfecting the areas as well, if there's any question about that. But we feel the work's proceeding. So if anyone remembers that they were over the plant, when the old plant was decommissioned, we released the Unit 3 filter area so that RH White then could reestablish and repurpose those filters as manganese contactors. So that work is in progress. On the demolition side, they're doing some demolition of the locker room and some areas in Unit 2 to facilitate working towards other improvements to Unit 2. There will be demolition occurring. The kind of signature mark of the water treatment plant, the elevated water storage tank, is going to be coming down soon, as well as the lime silo. So we feel that work is proceeding well, and the contractor is showing up and working. And the PCB abatement is going according to schedule. And I know that, Mayor, you knew about it. The last of any soil that was contaminated has been removed from the site. So that's that part of it's finished, but there is still some PCB abatement internally in the plant that's following according to a schedule approved by the EPA. Any questions?
Yeah, I just have one overall. Where are we with contingency, and where does it look like we're going to end up? I mean, do we anticipate any more use of contingency?
I believe that Ray Valentini shared with me that there are some pending PCOs, and whether or not those are approved or negotiated, and how that affects the bottom line of the contingency. I think Ray's in the process of trying to exactly figure that out, Mayor.
Okay. My understanding is we're around high 400, low $500,000 left in contingency for now. So that's something that we'll want to watch. This project is scheduled to be complete, I think, in April. Is that correct?
Yes, that's what we heard, yes.
Okay. So one, just want to make sure we have enough money to get through. And then two, if there is any money left over, see if we can go back to the state to use it for maybe some of the PCB abatement that we've done, that we ended up taking care of, that could be attributed to the project. But that's something, we'll have to look at as we get closer to the end date.
Certainly.
Okay, any questions or comments on the water filtration plant? Great job to everybody involved moving that forward, and a great job to the water treatment plant operators for transitioning. So it is a wonderful thing that we're doing here with this water treatment plant, and our capabilities will be improved immensely. So great job to all around.
I'll pass that on, Mayor.
Thank you. Project
So I think, Randy, are you on to talk about transmission?
Yes, I am.
All right, go ahead, Randy.
Okay, so we've been working diligently with BHI, VHB, and Leidos on design, field reviews, on-site, et cetera, veg management, scheduling, the siting application, et cetera. The siting council did come back with interrogatories. I believe they had 12 or 13 of those. We responded to those back before, I think, the Christmas holiday. CMEC's been instrumental in keeping the project moving forward from that aspect. And so we're at the point now where the veg management areas are being marked out by VHB, who's our environmental contractor that we've secured. And once they've completed that, which they believe they'll do that next week, we'll be able to have PAR, who's the construction company, and Blue Rock come in and give us final adjustments on pricing, et cetera. That should line up very closely to what our estimated costs were from the initial about a year ago. So we're hoping to get some sort of alignment with what the work they're doing now on the 1410, 400 line and 1280. We're working with BHI to get the schedules that they've already gotten for the TOA for signing those lines out. We're currently in a lineup where all the power is coming in on the 1410 line, and it's going out through our tie switch at the station out to Mystic so that they can work on currently the 400 line and the 1280 concurrently by Eversource. So any questions regarding that?
Randy, is PAR working in the Ledger area on the 1280 line?
So our understanding from working with on our concurrent calls with Eversource is that they've secured PAR for the 1410 line. And so, yes, they're working from, I believe it's the Giordano property out toward Mystic, and they've got other contractors. We visited the Montville site, which is Horton Cove. And there's a different construction contractor working out that way. So PAR was their construction company of choice for they won the bid for the Ledyard section from Groton Ledyard Town Line north.
Yep.
Okay, anything else for Randy?
I have Mayor, this is Mark. I have a couple other just projects we wanted to mention. We have had BHI do the design review for the EB feeder project. They've given us a bunch of comments back. They actually came down and walked it down with Vern and Randy and others. And we actually believe we have a way not to go through the parking lot, which that's going to be a big benefit to us there. We also have them, Randy, Vern, and the substation guys are walking through Buddington Station today to have them look at the substation upgrades, look at the design and construction over there. And we have them working on a quote for the 300 and 305 line upgrades as we speak. So we'll be talking about those big projects as we move forward through the next few months. That's all I have on projects.
Yeah, so just to add to that, we did do a walkthrough this morning with BHI. Kevin Nelson's their primary project manager, and then their engineer was on site as well, George. We looked at the 400 terminal, so we're expecting to totally replace the bus one terminal at Buddington, and then there's discussions whether or not we'll use a brand new transformer that came in 2000 per a 911 purchase through a 911 grant, and then we'll potentially have four terminals at Buddington, 4 buses again, like they had probably back in 1974. So we did a preliminary walkthrough. I'm sure we'll be doing more walkthroughs. We'll be securing document transfers for them to look at one lines. We have a meeting this afternoon actually to go over those drawings and to go over the EB design.
Okay,
So Randy, you're talking of moving the spare transformer up to Buddington and put it on the 2 pad?
Yeah, so either it's a 2 pad or the 1 pad and moving the 1X over. We're looking at lining up all the transformers. You know, these are preliminary discussions that we're having to line everything up and make it all congruent through the substation, right? So it'll all look identical right across the buses there, right?
I heard the 300, 305 line mentioned. What upgrades are being done? What's being done to those lines?
So currently, as you might know, that near the ledges, the line leaves the ledges and goes towards Trails Corner through swamp. And those poles have been condemned probably for quite a few years. So we're having them look at designs and ways to maybe circumvent that area or replace those structures.
Here's your friend. He's Bill.
Yeah, I actually had looked at one time having Blue Rock coming in and building a road to get in that swamp.
Okay. Yeah, so we're doing that. What I would see as the expensive part now, because of the environmental impact, is the padding to get out of there. So we were looking at ways to maybe avoid it totally with steel structures, some sort of H-frame or sub-transmission type build. And they were looking into different avenues to try to do that.
Just span the whole area, go right over.
Right. Correct.
Good idea.
Thank you.
okay, anything else on projects? All right, old business, wastewater treatment facility odor update?
This is Mark. Don't have much to report over the last 30 days, with all the holidays that went on. Basically routine operations down there over the last month. We have had no odor complaints, as Sam noted. We continue to monitor EB and Pfizer and how they're pumping and the flow rates. We have instituted bioxide at those pumping stations to us, or the catch basins that run to us, and we have not seen hydrogen sulfide issues. We do have some the primary pump in the wastewater treatment facility was grouted yesterday. It's got about a 2-day cure, and then we'll be able to run that pump, which is good news. That's been gone for a while. We also did get the second pump in for the digester, and we're working on the new piping design and getting that back up and operational and have that extra capability down there. That's all I have for wastewater this month.
Okay, with the additional cash on hand, I mean, we knew, we did this deliberately, moving the sewer account out of the city tax base into its own enterprise account so that we would be able to have funds so that we could do maintenance. With it increasing, are we looking at other projects that we could do so that we're using that money?
So we have had a strategic meeting looking at the water and pollution control facilities, upgrades and repairs that need to be done. We just finished that last week. Rick and Ray held a more of a shop floor meeting 2 days ago?
Yeah.
2 days ago to hone that. So we are aware of a bunch of other things that we can go out and get working on relative to in particular the wastewater system that we can go upgrade, make more reliable, and or repair. So we're developing and honing in on that list.
And then once you have that list,
if
you'll
you,
bring it to us?
it's being developed for the budget for next year. Additionally, before we get to the end of this year, you're going to probably see the Lytton Court sewer main repair come through, as well as the roofs. There's a project to do the roofs at the sewer facility itself at wastewater. So there's 2 projects that you're going to see within a couple of months for spring work.
Okay, good. Anything else on wastewater from the from the commission? Okay,
I
well,
happened to drive by the Elks Club the other day and I saw there was a bunch of trucks and individuals working on the pump station. Is that normal maintenance or is something going on down there?
Station.
By the Elks Lodge?
Yeah, there was a big truck and
This is Rick. This is, that's our, what's called our Plant Street Pump Station. And
Right.
That was normal work there at the time.
Thanks, Rick.
normal maintenance,
Yes, sir.
nothing unusual.
The roof replacements for the sewer plant, is that all the buildings or the two buildings? Or is it?
So presently, we are putting that plan together, George, and right now we are looking at the main plant on Thames Street. And we are looking at Eastern Point because we're going to coordinate work with the electric department in the spring. They have to replace the underground and we're going to be doing some maintenance work there. However, there is some work we're coordinating because the chlorine system has to be modified. The HVAC system has been modified. So we don't want to repair roofs that we're going to rip a chimney off and then disturb the integrity of the roof. So we will be doing select areas primarily at the PAF and Eastern Point.
Okay.
anything else on wastewater? Commissioners? Okay, hearing none, we're going to move on to new business. We have several action items. The first one is GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-01. I need a motion for consideration of an action to authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Woodard and Curran, 35 Broad Street, 1 Weybosset Hill, floor 7, Providence, Rhode Island, for an amount to exceed $36,000 and no cents for the SCADA radio system upgrades at the wastewater treatment facility to be paid from the wastewater account available cash as a non-bonded capital expense. And furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action with recommendations that it concur.
So moved.
Second, Godly.
Okay, we have a motion from Zuliani and a second from Godley.
No, not me.
Scully? Okay,
George.
Scully and Godley. Discussion.
Question, this is for, I'm looking under director's report here. Five pump stations out of 9, so there's 4 other pump stations that have already been upgraded or will need to be upgraded in the future?
No, this will take care of, all of them will be up to date because one, what we had, George, was 2 of the other pump stations, they failed. And we actually had spares on a water section and we were able to take the spares off the shelf in a water plant. That's why last month when we came to you with requests to replace the radios in the water, why we've had 2 spares in the water. This enables us with 1 spare so they can better self-manage. And it's the same conditions that the supplier, the vendor no longer supports them. It's not a part that you can rebuild very easily. And what we're going to do, this covers the installation. We're trying to manage the project so we do everything in one day. So, you know, when our staff are there to prevent any problems that we're not aware of.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Any other discussion on this action item? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion carries. I need a motion for GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-02. Consideration of an action to authorize Groton Utilities Management to approve the low lift pump station screening and manganese abatement project not to exceed $473,825 and no cents, which includes a 10% contingency to be funded initially from the water account available cash as a non-bonded capital project And furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action with a recommendation that it concur.
So moved.
Moved by Scully,
Second, Godly.
seconded by Commissioner Godley. Okay, discussion?
This doesn't state who the money's gonna go to. It says, it explains what it's for. Do we have a contractor?
So the way that the action was written was to authorize the project. And the project total is 473,000 and change.
Okay.
You'll see the next action is actually to cover the engineering, which is
Yeah, I
the
saw that.
Yeah, so the first thing is to engineer it. That way we can bid it out and keep moving swiftly to have this project done by the September deadline, when is the EO migration timeframe again. So
Got it.
this is to move nimbly and swiftly. So we wanted to kick the engineering off. They gave us an estimate for construction, and we put together a full project. So because it wasn't included in the original budget, we decided to move forward in this manner.
I just wasn't sure where you got the figure from.
Right, and also, it says initially financed by water cash account. In subsequent items, you're gonna see that we're gonna authorize bonding. When you do a bonding and you do a borrowing, they let you do an 18-month look back. So the finance department, Ron and E, will be making recommendations when we go through the borrowing cycle with whether this should move into a bonding. Bonding should finance this project, or whether it should remain out of cash that was on hand. So finance may be moving that later over to bonding based on the financial plan that was developed. We may have missed the exact problem and scope of the issue. If there's any questions about that, I know we've been talking about this for months. I'll let Mark or Rick address that. Is there any questions on that?
Okay. Any other questions? Excuse me. Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion carries. Need a motion for GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-03. Consideration of an action to authorize Groton Utilities Management to issue a purchase order to Wright Pierce, Westminster Square Building, 10 Dorrance Street, Suite 840, Providence, Rhode Island, for an amount not to exceed $145,750,000. Yeah, 750, it should be, the second thousand shouldn't be there. $50 and no cents for the engineering services as part of the low lift pump station screening capital project to be funded initially from the water account available cash. And furthermore, to city council be approved, apprised of this action with a recommendation that it concur.
So moved.
Second, Godly.
Moved by Scully, seconded by Godley. Discussion.
We'll address questions if there's any. I think we just covered it.
Yeah, we've talked a little bit about this today.
One question. This is replacing the existing screens, correct, Rick? Or is this a new?
Engineering work, it's actually, it's like a three-part. They wanted to look at, should they replace the screens in kind? Should they replace them with more specific fine screening? Should they have a one channel where they'll replace it with one screen and we divert it for the 3 months of the year? Or should they remove the screens totally and put another set of fine screening with an airburst system like we're doing on the wing walls of the intake, George?
Okay, so it's not just a replacing what's there.
No, it's not.
Actually, that we're working with a national expert on eel mitigation, and they're gonna look at a couple different solutions, I think is what we're trying to say. So we're not positive yet whether they're going to recommend replacement of the traveling screen system.
Okay, any other questions? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Need a motion for GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-04. Consideration of an action to approve the proposed 3-year electric rate schedule for Groton Utilities and to recommend the city council concur and execute appropriate action.
So move.
Second.
Giuliani, seconded by Scully. We have had the public hearing for this, and to my knowledge, there's been no opposition to the rate schedule. Is that true, Director?
There have been no comments submitted at the public hearing that we had. We did run most of the city council through the cost of service study at that public hearing. We just didn't have a special meeting after that meeting, so we didn't bother scheduling it. We decided just to do it in our regular meeting. So the city council, when this moves to their level, if you move it to their level, the city council moves forward with the ordinance process because all rates are memorialized in a city ordinance.
Correct. Okay. Any other questions or comments on this? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Let me get to the next one. GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-05, consideration of an action to authorize the issuance of $4,250,000 bonds to the city to meet the appropriation $4,250,000 for the Department of Utilities 2020-2021 electric bond fund, and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose, and furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action with a recommendation that they concur.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
Moved by Godley, seconded by Scully. Let's go there. Is there any discussion on this item?
The description that follows in the package is quite extensive. Yet here in the motion, it doesn't just indicate what it's really for. In this case, it's to provide upgrades for the distribution system. And the same thing happens in the 06 item. There's no real reason, it doesn't describe what it's for. But in that case, it's to provide for the engineering construction. But I wanted to highlight that the details in the package is just not in this motion.
Okay. Thank you. Any further discussion on this item?
Just so everybody knows, what we actually moved forward with bonding approvals last February meeting. It got delayed by COVID. And what happened was, since then, Ron Uhas has been to bond council, and he gave us the appropriate wording for the resolutions that go to city council, which is what you see as the backup in your commission package.
Yeah.
What we did is we moved the top part of the resolution into yours to be that's what's approved. Also, you are correct. It doesn't have the description in the absolute top part of the resolution that you're doing. However, the description is on the backup with what will be forwarded, if you so choose, to city council. And then I believe that goes to ordinance also as bond package. It actually goes to a public meeting. Mark can talk about the description a little bit. Why don't you hit that, Mark?
For Basra?
This one is
Basra 4.2.
Yes.
So there are detailed projects. What we try to do is group them, and that's what you see here for the, so that you would have a reasonable summary here. So in Basra, the main things we're talking about is reconductoring and pole replacements and transformer upgrades for South Road, Route 82, Camp Moline Road, Stockhouse Road, Red Cedar Lake. And, there's other portions of Basra and Lebanon that we need to be.
Hold on, Mark, because I don't think this is for Basra. This is for Groton, right, Ron?
You just read,
This is Basra.
4.2, that's the
Yeah.
one you were
you
on.
just read 21-105, which is the 4.2 million, which is for Basra, but Basra has to borrow through.
But why is that? Why is that here? Why is that not at a Basra Utility Commission meeting instead of the Groton Utility Commission meeting?
Ron Newhouse, did you want to answer that? I think I know, but
Yeah, it just because of the fact that Basra itself doesn't borrow the money, the city actually borrows the money,
Okay,
and then there's a note between the city or the electric fund and Basra for
Got
that.
okay. All right, then my apologies. Mark, please continue.
No apologies necessary. So really that describes the, the kind of 40,000 foot level of what we're going to do up there. There is a detailed list. Is that in the package?
it's right there.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
3-pager.
And
Yes.
we have discussed this before.
Yes, we did. I brought it to you a year ago, December, and then again a year ago in February.
Right.
My
Okay.
compliments to Ron for putting this together because it's quite extensive.
Yep.
On both motions.
Okay, any other discussion on this motion?
That up there.
Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. Okay, we're gonna move on to, where am I here? F. GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-06, consideration of an action to authorize the issuance of $15,200,000 bonds to the city to meet the appropriation of $15,200,000 for the Department of Utilities 2021 electric bond fund and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. And furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action with the recommendation that they concur.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion by Zuliani, second by Scully. All right. Do we, discussion, any additional discussion? This
I
is
have.
ISO work. Go ahead, Commissioner Scully.
Well, that was my question. This is PTF, Power Transfer Facility, and this will be reimbursable from ISO. Correct?
Yes, and we actually make a profit on this.
Correct.
That's 100% correct.
Okay.
Right, and additionally, finance will be tracking this separately to track the return. There's a very good return on this
Yes.
project. It's on the order of magnitude of
Yes.
8% of $15 million.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-07, consideration of an action to authorize the issuance of $7,470,000 in bonds to the city to meet the appropriation of $7,470,000 for the Department of Utilities 2020-2021 Water Bond Fund Program and pending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. And furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action, with a recommendation that they concur.
So
So
move.
move. Second.
Motion by Zuliani, who was the second?
No, Jeff first, me second.
Okay, sorry. Motion by Godley, second by Zuliani. Discussion?
These are all water projects that we had put on a list before. The only new one is the low lift pump station. You know, we have a rather extensive list that I've shared with you a year ago and again last February, and this is to be able to work those projects off. As you can see, you know, number one on the hit parade is the Brandegee Avenue standpipe. That'll be number one priority once we get the funds here.
Okay. All right, is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. All right, excuse me. Where am I here? This is GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-08. Consideration of an action to authorize the issuance of $4,995,000 in bonds to the city to meet the appropriation for the $4,995,000 for the Department of Utilities 2020-2021 Wastewater Bond Fund Program, impending the issuance thereof, the making of temporary borrowings for such purpose. And furthermore, that the city council be apprised of this action with a recommendation that they concur.
So move.
Godly.
Moved by Godley, seconded by Scully.
Scully.
Okay. Discussion. So this is for the wastewater treatment plant
And the collection systems.
and the collection systems.
Right, so this is all of the upgrades to the sewer mains, the pumping stations, roofs, the upgrade to a sodium hypochlorite system in the wastewater treatment facility. All of those things that, again, we have a pretty extensive list. We also are gonna have an updated list once the PAF engineering study gets completed here shortly. I'm sure they'll give us some other things that we probably ought to be looking at. So this is, to, you know, improve what's out there, make it more reliable, more resilient, and keep it in tip-top condition.
Okay. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Mayor, Commissioner Scully.
So we have bonding for Basra, bonding for the Groton Transmission Project, bonding for the Water Department, bonding for wastewater. What about Groton Electric Distribution bonding? We don't.
I can speak to that.
Okay.
What we did it when we just rolled out the cost of service study, you may not remember, but on one of the pages that Mark Beauchamp showed us on the schedule, the first page in that package for the cost of service study was assumptions. In that list of assumptions, for at least 2 years, GU Electric Groton has enough cash on hand through the rate stabilization fund in what it's been banking at CMEC to move forward with all non-bonded capital projects for a total of $5 million capital spend a year. The original plan that you saw back in February was 50% non-bonded capital, 50% bonded, which was a borrowing of $2.5 million a year to move forward with. What Mark did when we looked at the cost service study is we said, well, geez, let's bring some of the cash down and use cash flow to fund capital upgrades. So that makes it so that GU Electric Groton does not need to borrow for 2 or 3 years. Were we to need to borrow in 2 or 3 years' time, we would move forward at that point, depending how we're adhering to the financial plans. Did I answer the question or just talk too much?
You did. That sounds good. But I like that, paying out of pocket, not borrowing.
Okay, so where are we now?
Aye.
We're at I, right? Because we approved 21-01-08, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that's
did.
what I thought. All right. So the last item is GUC W.P.C.A. 21-01-09, consideration of an action to adopt the Commissioner collaborated 2021 strategic plan as presented by management.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Scully, second by Zuliani. All right, discussion.
So the majority of this discussion has been done already, but what Dan Bogues and Noemi did is they actually, one of the items provided to you was kind of a glossy, public-oriented Groton Utility Strategic Business Plan. It starts with a few pages that go over general history of the company, because this is supposed to kind of memorialize where we were in a point of time. And then it moves into just a simple discussion of the whole strategic plan as we rolled it out with the commission, which is our mission, GU, a premier utility at your service, to the core values of safety, customer community, integrity, fiscal responsibility, infrastructure reliability, and stewardship. And then through the overall goals and items to work on, which core around safety, customer and community, financial stability, workforce development, infrastructure reliability, regulatory compliance, and then a few commission level goals. So I wasn't planning on going through the presentation or us arguing about the words anymore, because we did that pretty good in the last few meetings last year. And we can discuss this or modify this any way you guys want, but I figured it was appropriate to do an official rollout with the commission at this point.
Looks good.
Very good.
Yeah, I agree. It looks good. And my thanks go out to all of the GU staff that was involved and spent so many hours coming up with this project. I think this is good. So where will this be posted? Because we need to, I think we need to get this out to the public and showcase this on what we're doing.
Dan, are you still on? Did you want to answer? I don't mind answering either. Is Dan still there?
Yeah.
Dan has a plan to roll it out on the website and additionally probably on Facebook. We had talked about it earlier. He has his microphone and video off.
Okay. But I think it's, you know, one of the things that we've been doing since I got here in 17 is when we do good things, we want to make sure that we're showcasing them and getting them out to the public so that the public knows what their public utility is doing for them. And I think this is a great thing to get out. So yeah, I'll be interested in how we're going to roll that out.
Yes. And additionally, what we'll do to make sure that we're concentrating on moving the things forward, we're going to create teams similar to the teams we did when we developed it. And routinely, each of those teams will report out to the commission with status and also for input is appropriate, because some of the items such as expansion, let's say even for the water company, to try to share the wealth of the water we have to other communities, may need input from the commission and support.
Right. Any other comments from the commission? All right, hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, motion carries. We have no executive session, so I will take a motion to adjourn.
So
So
moved.
moved. Second,
Who moved?
Jeff Zuli.
Okay. Commissioners Godley and seconded by Commissioner Giuliani. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, abstention, we are adjourned. Thank you all for coming out today. Staff, thank you for what you do every day. And everyone stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.